Spin it forward now and look about the defensive line, because with South Carolina, they had the top overall prospect on the defensive line. But these are the classes with the best overall defensive linemen coming in. Gave you a lot of heat for Arkansas in that recruiting class, seemingly just going after offensive players. All right, they got one of the best defensive line classes in there.
He's up.
But on the top of the list, Notre Dame. And when we talk about the Fighting Irish in an area of need, that's where they needed it.
Yeah, you know, it's never been about offense with Notre Dame. It's always been about defense. Brian Kelly not only did he come in and address it, he addressed it big time with front seven help. Aaron Lynch is the key guy, but Anthony Rabasa, who's a defensive end out of Florida. Stephon Tuitt, another defensive lineman out of the South from Georgia. He didn't only go get D linemen. He went and got him from the South. And Eshok Williams is the one guy you got out of New York, out of the Northeast, but this is a great player for their 3-4 scheme. He's got the size potential to eventually fit into a defensive end spot there. He's athletic enough to probably stand up as an outside linebacker initially. He brings a lot of different versatility to that defense. You add him, Lynch, Rabasa, Stephon Tuitt, who is an ideal 3-4 defensive end type player. And not only did they get great defensive linemen, they also addressed a need big time.
And you could tell it was a need, because guys like Lynch, Tuitt, looking other places, and the coaching staff under Brian Kelly, defensive coordinator Bob Diaco, doing a great job of scrambling with some of those decommitments to get everybody back in the fold for Notre Dame. Top 25 class overall as well. When it comes to the linebackers, Oregon has done a great job branching out, going everywhere. They go to a potential pipeline school like up at Skyline in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, getting Anthony Wallace here, taking him up to Eugene. Leading the way, though, the Clemson Tigers. Not only Tony Stewart, the #1 inside linebacker in the nation, they also got the verbal commitment on signing day from Stephon Anthony, the #1 outside linebacker in the nation as well.
Yeah, and don't forget about Latique Townsend, who's a top 5 outside linebacker prospect. So that is 3 ESPNU 150 linebackers for the Clemson Tigers. They also got 2 other players, one of those being a high 3-star player in B.J. Goodson. So overall, the Clemson Tigers signed 5 linebacker prospects. Like I said, 3 of them being an ESPNU 150, 2 of them being #1 at their position, one of them the #1 inside linebacker, Tony Stewart. And this guy has all the ability to be a beast at the linebacker position. Ideal size. I mean, you get around this young man in person and you are impressed with how kind of thickly and muscular he is. He's got a lot of athleticism. Stephon Anthony on the outside can run very well. And Latique Townsend needs some work. He's allowed to roam quite a bit in high school, but he's got a great feel for blitzing the quarterback. So you're getting 3 linebackers who have the ability to come in and start to contribute early on.
And it's not just expectations for players, but for coaches as well. For Dabo Swinney, you bring guys in like that, time to start winning like they expect down there in Clemson with their Tigers. Defensive backs, when you look at the guys coming in to roam the secondary, well, you know this is the best of the bunch. It's Carlos Williams on his way to play for Florida State as the #1 overall safety in the ESPNU 150. He can talk a good game. He's a freak athletically, and then he'll come up and hit you as well. He's got everything you would want. And we talked to Jimbo Fisher last week about a guy that can be the lead figure in this class because he does so many things well. He's the reason why Florida State with the #1 recruiting class when it comes to that secondary. I know you like other guys besides just Carlos Williams in that mix.
Yeah, Carlos Williams leads the way, but Florida State signed 5 defensive back prospects in this class. You also add into the mix Keelan Smith, Nick Wason, Tyler Hunter, and also LaMarcus Brutus. But Williams is the guy who starts it all off because, now listen, you're saying why do you need 5 defensive backs? First of all, with more spread offenses, you can never have enough defensive players. But a guy like Carlos Williams, who we believe can play safety, he's a hitter, he's brash, he's got great ball skills, but he's also have the size to eventually move down to outside linebacker if things start getting crowded and everybody starts showing the potential they have. And now at the corner position, Nick Wason. This is a class, a 2011 class, that had a lot of cornerbacks in transition. They were high school quarterbacks or running backs who we felt, and college coaches too felt, will fit better at the cornerback position. But Nick Wason was one of the few who was a high school cornerback who we felt could transition to college and be the most ready and kind of the most prepared for that position. But in Keelan Smith, he's a guy who we think is a safety. He could also play some cornerback if need be. Tyler Hunter is a hitter. He's a big guy. He also has the potential to move down to outside linebacker. So you've got guys in Hunter and Williams who have the size to play outside linebacker. Players like Keelan Smith who could play corner. LaMarcus Brutus, probably the most true of the safeties of that group. But you got good players who could fit in the secondary. They also give you options how you can use them so you can get the best guys on the field.